Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing tonight? Well, I guess you'll probably be watching this tomorrow when I post this video. I actually hadn't planned on filming a video tonight, but I kind of enjoy sitting out here late at night filming these videos. I said that last night. I feel peaceful and serene, and I feel like my thoughts are centered and things like that. But I just got done watching Big Brother, the live eviction, and I was getting ready to watch Swoop's episode about Josh David Evans, Colleen Ballinger's ex, and that was what my video was going to be about tomorrow. If I finish it tonight, then I will make a second video tomorrow and post this video and that video. If not, then I will post that video on Saturday in my response, because I want to make sure that I take some notes and I cover it appropriately. So that video will either be up on Friday or it will be up on Saturday. And then I was gonna, if I had enough time still, I was gonna watch Fear the Walking Dead. Now, I have been drinking coffee. Here's my coffee mug. I've been drinking coffee, and it's my second cup of coffee. I'm like getting tired even drinking coffee. And then I just got a Diet Pepsi because, listen, y'all are my people, and I love drinking Diet Pepsi with you. After this, I only have 2 more Diet Pepsis left, so then we're gonna be on the Diet Cokes. I love that I'm getting all these comments from people that are like, I'm having a Diet Pepsi with you, and there's always people that are like, I'm not a Diet Pepsi drinker, but I'm having a Coke with you, and things like that. I just love it so much. It makes me so happy. So yeah, you know, I said this the other day in a video. So much of what is going on YouTube and TikTok and the whole internet right now is just so dark and kind of sad to even talk about. And it makes me somewhat reminiscent of when I first started on YouTube. Not reminiscent, it makes me reminisce the early days of when I first started on YouTube. And when we did really lighthearted drama. That was kind of what I signed up for, you know? And I know to a lot of people that are super fans of these people, they're like, it was never lighthearted drama. Well, it was, okay? Let's just be for real, you know? When Manny MUA would come out and announce that he was dropping a launch or a release on a Thursday, and then Jeffree Star would say, well, he was going to drop it on a Wednesday, or, you know, Manny was going to drop it on a Friday, and Jeffree would drop his on a Thursday, or we would say, you know, like, Jeffree Star just got 10,000 more subscribers, and then James Charles the next day beat him and got 10,000 more subscribers. Like, that was big drama back in the day, you know? And everybody would watch with bated breath, you know? And I miss those days, in all honesty. It was a lot easier to flip fans and talk to Jane and Vivian on the drama phone and, you know, make jokes and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like everything anymore, everything that is out there that anybody wants to hear about, or anything that I even want to talk about, I feel like is so dark. And I sit here and I watch it, and I think it's important to talk about. I really do. But if you had asked me 2 years ago, you know, do you think that you'll be a channel where you're talking about all these allegations with James Charles? Listen, I didn't even cover the initial allegations with James Charles at that time, and you can go back and fact check this, because at that time, you know, several years ago, I just was like, this is not what my channel's about, and it was a lot, right? And there were a lot of people covering it, so I thought the conversation was being had. And you know, and if you asked me, you know, 2 years ago, do you think your channel will be like one day talking about Colleen Ballinger and the allegations, and one day talking about James Charles, and one day talking about Trisha and Jeffree, this huge feud that they have, and the things that they're throwing out there and all this kind of stuff? I really, to be honest with you, I would have been like, no, like, I think there's always kind of like some dark story out there, but now it just seems like everything is so dark, you know? And, you know, Jeffree Star always wants to point the finger and blame everybody else for who ruined the beauty community. And the reality is, the beauty community is not dead. It just isn't. You know, there are a lot of people out there, smaller creators, some bigger creators even, you know, that are still buying a lot of makeup, doing get-readies with me, you know, doing looks, loving makeup, and they are completely not problematic whatsoever. And I haven't done this in a while, so I want to do this on this video. think it's time to start paying some attention to not only positive beauty influencers, but positive YouTubers that you just love to watch, you know, that I don't even care if they have 20 subscribers, you know, or 20,000 or whatever, a million. If somebody out there that you feel like deserves some attention, for not being problematic, and you know, like, this is like the really sad thing is so many people will like put those people below in the comment section so that we can bring some attention to the positive people out there that are not problematic and are working very, very hard to upload videos on a regular basis. But the thing is that even then, when people just like list all these people, right, I still have to go in and I have to look them up and put like Judy Smith problematic to see like if there's a history, you know. And I think in some way, the majority of us out there that have been around for a while, I mean, we have some, you know, we have some pieces to all of our history that is problematic. I think that's kind of the human condition to some degree, right? I think the struggle for me is that I'm a believer that when you know better, you do better, you know, and that when you try to learn from your mistakes and you try to grow as a human being, and maybe because... And I'm not a perfect example of that by any means, you know, like I'm going to continue to be learning and growing until the day I'm not breathing anymore, you know, and I think that's just life. I think, you know, I've said this in many videos on my other channels that I think that life is kind of like a school, and once you learn a lesson and you graduate to the next grade, you learn more lessons, you know. It's like from the book, I love the self-help book by Dr. Sheree Scott called If Life Were a Game, These Are the Rules, and in the book, she says there's like 10 lessons, and one of the lessons, I think it's the second lesson. The first lesson is, in life you will be given a body, accept it or change it, but it's yours for life. And the second lesson is, in life there will be lessons. And the third one is, lessons are repeated until they are learned, you know? And so the choice is, do I want these lessons to continue to repeat themselves throughout my life, right? And it's interesting to me when I see these influencers that have so much power and so much money, and we're listening to them, right? Like, we're looking up to them and we're admiring them. And the reality is, for me, it's like, it's always interesting to me when people say, like, I can separate the art from the artist. I can't. That's just me, and, you know, maybe I'm different than a lot of people out there, but I just can't, you know? When somebody displays themselves to be a disgusting human being, or that they are refusing to take any acknowledgement or accountability for the choices that they've made in their life, or the people that they've hurt, especially when it's not just one or two people, but it's like multiple amounts of people or communities, and you continue to offend people all so that you get a view or a click or make some money, or you're trying to promote a product, or it's a marketing tactic. Like, to me, like, it's all then about money. It's like so sad to me, right? Like, it's just like, do y'all not have any morals or integrity? Do you really not care to grow and change as people? Like, that, it just really makes me sad, honestly, you know? And so to some degree, I've kind of like had to distance myself. And one of the rules that I've talked about this on my vlog tonight, one of the rules that I have started to do is that at the end of the day, and I'm not great at it yet, okay? We're like on day 3, and it's like last night I didn't do a good job, and tonight I'm not doing the greatest of jobs, but I'm like leaving my phone inside, or I'm like, I have it out here, and I try not to check it, and I'm just like trying to watch my shows and not pick up my phone, because typically sometimes like when I'm watching shows like Big Brother, because I know everything that's already happened on it, because I read the, you know, hashtag BB25 on Twitter, and I watch the live streams, all that kind of stuff. Like, I find myself rolling through Twitter, I find myself rolling through Instagram, and people are sending me DMs about all this kind of stuff, and so I start getting like all this saturation, you know, of what's going on. And so I feel like I need kind of like a respite from that. And so my respite is listening to audiobooks, cozy mysteries. If you want to know what a definition of cozy mystery is, I explained it the other day in a video, but, you know, spending time with my husband and my dog, and my husband's upstairs right now with Boo Radley watching Riverdale, and you know, just relaxing and watching Fear the Walking Dead and all this kind of stuff, you know, or Big Brother. And by the way, I've really been thinking hard, and I always said I would never start a 7th channel, but fuck it, I'm thinking about it, right? Attitude check! Fuck you! But I've really been thinking recently about starting a 7th channel, even though I said I never would. I always said if I started one, it would be one with my husband, and he has no desire to start a YouTube channel, so, but, you know, I'm like so into reality TV right now, and I've kind of gone through phases in my life where I watch a lot of it and then I don't. But right now, I'm like, started watching Big Brother again, and the last season I watched was the All-Star season, and I'm so into this season of Big Brother that I thought, you know, maybe I'll start watching reality shows and covering it. And so I'm thinking about starting a 7th channel. I mean, I already can film videos on 4 to 5 channels a day, so that won't be anything. I'll just sit out here after I watch a show and film the response to it or reaction, you know? I'm thinking about calling it like Peter's Reality Reviews or something like that. It's got to have Peter in the title, right? And if I start it, I'm thinking about starting on September 27th because, or the 28th, because that 27th is when the new Survivor starts and when the new Amazing Race starts. So if that's something that, and I would cover everything, you know, from Sister Wives to 1,000 Pound Sisters to, you know, all the reality shows. Well, not all of them, but, you know, the ones that a lot of people watch. So if that's something that you guys would be interested in, please put it in the comment section below. And if you have a suggestion for a title, let me know. But anyway, I just feel like it's gotten so dark, and I even have found myself really kind of needing to take a distance from it. I'm starting to find a balance to that. I'm not great at balance. I've shared this story on here before, but I remember my, I think it was my second sponsor that I had that sadly passed away from a heroin overdose, which I'm going to be talking about that tonight. But he... I remember, like, I knew his wife because I worked with his wife, and we were in a meeting, and the topic was balance. And, you know, I shared this extraordinary share in the meeting, and I was like, well, I do really well with balance. You know, I balance out, you know, relationships in my life and work and meetings and everything. I was like, this sounds so good, right? And it came to him, and he was like, yeah, I can't balance shit in my life. Like, I have no balance. I wish I did, but I don't, you know? And I was like, oh my God, like, that honesty, that vulnerability, that authenticity is so attractive. Like, I want that. Like, that is who I want to be inside, right? And I've always been attracted to that, you know? Not like in a romantic sense, but like, attracted to people that just have that just ability to be honest and authentic, right? And so I remember that, you know, and I don't know, it's just like watching all this stuff recently, it's just like making me really, really sad. And so people were like sending me this video tonight that was on Rich Lux's channel, and the video is called, hold on just a second, I will tell you in just all transparency that Rich had sent a clip of this to me earlier, and that it was on his live stream and things like that, and we had a little bit of a conversation about it. I just want to be completely transparent about that. So anyway, hold on a second. The video is called Jeffree Star Ends Trisha Paytas Lies, and he posted it right now. It's currently 12:53 a.m. and he posted it 5 hours ago. So the video is, at the beginning of it, he's doing like a live stream, I think like on TikTok or something, and Jeffree Star comes in and he guests Jeffree Star, and then Jeffree Star says, you can ask me 3 questions, but before you do, I want to say something. And so he goes in this whole thing about Trisha Paytas, okay? I am so tired. I am so tired of this Trisha Paytas Jeffree Star feud, okay? It's ridiculous, and now it's getting to a point where it's just kind of getting evil, in all honesty, you know? And I'll be honest with you, like, there are people out there that are not going to like this video. I'm not giving you no caveats tonight. I'm not going to say, don't be coming for me and saying I'm giving Trisha Paytas a free pass. Don't come for me if you're a Trisha Paytas lover and you're saying I'm being too hard on her. Don't come for, I'm not doing all them caveats tonight, okay? Tonight we're just going to speak the truth, okay? I think Trisha Paytas is a shit person, and I think Jeffree Star is a shit person, okay? Period, end of story. Trisha Paytas wants to put things out there, and now people are saying that that's not true and all this kind. I mean, it's just, she constantly contradicts herself. She can't keep her lies straight to save her life. People are like, oh, but Trisha's making apologies. No, Trisha, she don't know the truth to save her life, okay? She really doesn't. And Jeffree Star is a shit person. Jeffree Star literally, like, I think that Trisha Paytas is trying to stir up all this drama right now to pump views on her podcast. I really think that's what it's about. And I think Jeffree Star, he is like entering himself into all of this drama right now because Jeffree Star has some new release. And I don't know if it's his book. I don't know if it's makeup. I don't know what it is. But this is so like 2016, 2017 Jeffree Star to involve himself and start saying all this shit about people. I don't really know where it's coming from, you know, and I said in my video when he came out and talked about James Charles, I said good for him for sharing his truth. I still think he's a shit person, and I do. I think Trisha Paytas and Jeffree Star are 2 of the shittiest people on YouTube. I think they're 2 of the most untrustworthy people on YouTube. I think they would stab anybody in the back, figuratively, okay, for $1, or to progress further in their career. I don't think they really have the ability to be good friends to anybody. I don't think they really care about people in any kind of genuine manner whatsoever, and I think they've demonstrated that. I don't think they care about people. Okay, I think they treat their own audiences with not addressing certain situations and whatever. And I don't care how many times they want to come out and say, well, I addressed this, or I apologize for this, or whatever, okay? You know, you apologize for something, and then you turn around and you do it again, okay? For example, Trisha Paytas was supposed to be on this Dumb Blonde podcast that Jeffree Star was going to be on, right? And then she canceled at the last minute, allegedly. But now it's coming out that Bunny, who is the host of this podcast, said that she never heard from Trisha Paytas. So what's the truth, Trisha? Okay? Did you really message her? And then Trisha gets in this TikTok that was the longest TikTok, talking in circles. It was like 3 or, can you post long? I mean, it seemed like it was 10 minutes long. I don't know, but I watched the whole thing. Trisha's like, the whole time she's like sobbing through this TikTok. Not one tear fell, okay? I'm like, this is so fake. She don't really care about this. And she's like, but I had an opportunity of my lifetime, and this opportunity was so amazing, and like, I had to take it. Your opportunity was that you had Donny Osmond on your podcast? Girl, get the fuck out of here. Seriously? So what you're saying to this person, okay, is that your time is more important than theirs. That your time, Trisha, okay, and what you care about is more important than Bunny's time, okay? I don't care how many apologies you want to put out there in the world. Stop apologizing. This is the thing, and I was talking to my friend, my best friend, Tawny Jean, tonight about this. We were talking about the Real Housewives. This is to do with the Real Housewives, and Heather Dubrow talking about Emily and how many times she apologizes for stuff and all this kind of stuff, you know? And we were talking about the fact that it's not always about the apology, right? It's about, if you need to apologize for 9 million things, and somebody actually just asked me about this in a DM earlier, so I'm going to address it, like, you know, back in the day when I was using, my dad got so fed up with the word I'm sorry. He said to me one time, stop saying I'm sorry. I am so that doesn't mean anything to me. What I'm sorry translates to you is forget what I just did. Trisha, what I'm sorry to you means is forget what I just did. Your I'm sorries mean nothing because you turn around and you do the exact same thing, okay? The exact same thing. You got in this TikTok and said, I have a podcast and I know what it's like for somebody to cancel on me and get all glammed up, and I've had people do it to me. Then why would you do it to somebody? If you know what that's like, okay, to be in full glam and literally somebody at the last moment cancel on you, why would you do it to them? To have Donny Osmond on your podcast? This was the moment of your life? Girl, get the fuck out of here, okay? I had Donny and Marie Osmond dolls when I was growing up as a kid, and one side of the play thing was a stage, and the back room was the dressing room, and I had purple and pink costumes for them in the whole 9 yards, okay? Listen, okay? I was as ate up with Donny and Marie Osmond when I was a kid, okay? And I know about their shows in Vegas and all that kind of stuff. Who cares, okay? You know what it's like to stand somebody up, and so then you go and you stand them up. Like, you know what that feels like to be in full glam. But then you want to get in a TikTok and cry about it. And then but then you're going to publicly talk about how Jeffree Star was on her podcast and that you asked him about this incident, and Jeffree Star said that Trisha Paytas ruined my life, and like, why would you do that? She did it because she's pissed at you, Trisha, because you stood her up at the last minute, okay? Trisha, if anybody out there can understand vengeance, it should be you. You literally live with vengeance, okay? Or you have in your past. Somebody pisses you off and you go for them full throttle. If anybody out there knows that, you should know that. I'm going to be talking about forgiveness here in a little bit. So if anybody out there should understand vengeance, it should be you. Because you've literally lived in vengeance for a very long time. And I've said this about Trisha Paytas for a while now, right? People always want to say, well, you don't hold Trisha Paytas accountable. The fuck I haven't, okay? I have held Trisha Paytas accountable for a very long time. You know, just because you decide one day that you're going to sprinkle a few apologies here and there, and you're going to say I'm sorry to some people, okay, doesn't mean that on that day everybody forgets everything that you've done, right? I started making amends in 1995. I got sober December 17th of 1994. I started making amends in 1995. Do you know how many years it was for some people in my life to accept those amends and realize that I was a changed person? While I was working in a treatment program, while I was going to 7 meetings a week, while I was suiting up and showing up to things, while I was being a different person, speaking differently, acting differently to them, being a good person. And still, it took years, okay, for people to see that I was a different person. So you don't just get on video one day and say, well, I apologize to Charli D'Amelio. Look at me, I'm a different person. That's not how it fucking works, Trisha. Sorry, okay? Sorry about all that. But you have to walk the walk for a while, okay? And the reality is, you've been a shit person for a very long time, okay? You just, you know, you got in that interview on TV not too long ago and talked about trolling. It was really fun at the time. Okay, well, that trolling is paying off now for you, all right? Because now you're having to deal with the repercussions of years of trolling that built your popularity on YouTube. You wanted popularity and fame so bad that you were willing to do anything for it, okay? And that proved that you're a shit person. Now you don't want to be seen as a shit person anymore. It's going to take a little bit of work, okay? It's going to be taking a little bit more than some TikTok I'm sorry's. That's just the truth, okay? Especially when you're apologizing to people and then you're turning around and you're doing the exact same behavior. What are you even fucking apologizing for? Which is why Trisha hasn't apologized for so long, because she doesn't have the ability to be consistent and change and growth. And yet, she says one good thing in a video and everybody's like, oh, Trisha's changed. She's a grown person today. Okay. Well, let's see where she's at 6 months from now. You know, I said in my video the other day that this podcast is going to be her downfall because she's so insistent on this podcast being the thing that, like, just, like, boosts her to the top, that she's doing and having problematic people on there. She's saying problematic things, and it's going to bite her in the ass. It's going to absolutely bite her in the ass, okay? And then she's going to say, well, I guess I made another mistake. And guess what? Trishy's Fishies will accept it. And they'll be like, oh, Trishy's growing. It was a mistake. She's growing. Trisha Paytas is a 35-year-old woman that's going to be 36 years old next year, okay? I lost my mother when I was Trisha Paytas' age, okay? You don't talk about growing up fast. I know a lot of people that lost parents. My mother lost her father when she was 4 years old, okay? Why are we giving this woman excuses at 35 years old? A woman, a grown woman, a mother and a wife. And yet people still excuse it away. Oh, we should pat her on the back because she's growing up. She's a grown adult now because she got in a fucking video and apologized to a couple TikTokers. Give me a fucking break. Trisha Paytas is problematic as hell, okay? She's got a long road to walk. But you know who else is problematic as hell? Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star and Trisha Paytas are, I think, equally as problematic and not good people, okay? So when we want to sit here and we want to talk about, well, Trisha's worse than Jeffree or Jeffree's worse than Trisha, let's just be honest. They're both shit people, okay? Why are we idolizing either one of them? Why don't we idolize some people that are actually putting some good out there into the world? Because there are a lot of people that are putting some real good out there in the world, you know? And then people want to say, well, then why are you talking about them on your channel? Because I'm a drama commentary channel. That's what I do, okay? Like, and people be like, well, if you don't watch your videos or talk about it, if I never talked about Jeffree Star and Trisha Paytas again, you think that means that their channels are going to end and they're not going to talk, they're not going to continue? Are you kidding me? This is what I do over here, okay? You have an issue with it, go watch my 5 other channels where I'm not talking about Trisha Paytas and Jeffree Star, James Charles, Colleen Ballinger, Manny MUA, Toddy Westbrook, the rest of them, okay? They're all fucking problematic. They're all money hungry, and they all don't care about people, and they definitely don't care about their audiences. Period. End of story. All they care about, okay, are the numbers and money. All of them. And Jeffree Star is just as problematic as the rest of them. Comes out with some, you know, let me sit on a couch like this, real posed, apology, and then 6 months later, he's doing the same fucking thing. Oh, but let's pat his back. That was really hard. Jeffree Star is 37 years old. He's going to be 38 in a month, okay? Or a month or 2 months. In November, he's going to be 38 years old. He is literally a year younger than my husband. I would be embarrassed if my husband behaved the way that Jeffree Star behaves, okay? These two are so fucking problematic, it disgusts me. This feud disgusts me, okay? So before I even get in to talk about what Jeffree Star wants to put out there, and I am not defending Trisha Paytas, but this is disgusting what he had to say, okay? I mean, I didn't think I could think any lower of Jeffree Star, but like this, like, dude, seriously? You got real problems, okay? All these people wanting to talk about, well, this person, you know, doesn't have emotional maturity, and this person doesn't have emotional maturity because they're 22. We're talking about a 35, almost 36-year-old woman and a 37, almost 38-year-old man, and they don't have fucking clues about emotional maturity. That's the truth, okay? And if y'all love them and you want to hate on me for that, have at it. I don't give a shit, okay? Because that's the fucking truth. Coming at each other with all these lies and manipulation and constantly coming at each other and all this kind of stuff, you know, and whatever. You know, and I understand, listen, Trisha's like, well, I just want to get along with people, okay? Well, you didn't have to get in a podcast and say that you didn't remember why you and Jeffree Star, like, I mean, I think about myself at Trisha Paytas' age, and like, if somebody, like, had interviewed me at that time and said, well, like, you had a falling out with so-and-so, like, my husband reminded me of this tonight, right? So I was 36 when I got together with my husband, and at that time, I had a falling out with a, like, was this last night? I think this was last night that we had this conversation, and we were talking about, yeah, it was last night because we were watching The Real Housewives of Orange County, and, no, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and Meredith and Lisa, like, had this kind of, like, come to Jesus meeting about their differences and whatever, and Lisa, a couple of seasons ago, just went off on Meredith and said some really horrible things about her, and she didn't know she was mic'd at the moment and all that kind of stuff, and so Meredith had to hear her talking about all this horrendous shit. Well, when I met my husband, I had a very dear friend of mine, okay, that was spreading horrific shit about me all over town, right? And was saying stuff about me and all this kind of stuff. And I was done. Like, you want to talk about disavow, like Tana Mojo wants to say, I disavowed this person. I wanted nothing to do with them anymore, right? I was done. And so I said to Alex last night when we were watching this, I said, I really am impressed with this, that Meredith went to Lisa to have this conversation to mend fences. I said, I don't know that I could do that. And my husband looked at me and he goes, you already did. And I go, what are you talking about? And he said this person's name, and he goes, when they came to you and they wanted to make it right, you forgave them with open arms. And I did. I moved slowly back into that relationship, but I did forgive them. And they came to me and they said, I was lying about you, and I am sorry, you know? If somebody had asked me at that time in an interview, I don't give a shit if it was broadcast to 9 million people or if it was just between 2 people, and they had said, what was that falling out about? I wouldn't act like I forgot about what it was, Trisha, okay? So, does Jeffree Star have an issue with that? I think he has a right to have an issue with that, okay? Either come out with your full chest and say, yeah, Jeffree Star fucking did me wrong, and I made a bunch of videos, and it ended my friendship with Shane Dawson. You say that kind of in the TikTok, but then you backtrack in podcasts. It's like, how do you not remember things from one day to the next? Okay? Like, this playing dumb act is not cute at your age, okay? It's time to grow up. It's time to step into your big girl pants. It's time to grow up and be mature, okay? This shit is a joke at this point. You people are ridiculous, okay? And Jeffree Star has done just as much evil shit to people that we've talked about and behind the scenes, okay? Period. End of story. They are, both of them, not good people. And they're like, literally, like, Jeffree's like a year younger than my husband, and Trisha's like 3 years younger than my husband. I would be embarrassed if my husband acted the way that they acted. Period. End of story, you know? And so when I was watching this all go down over the last couple days, I was thinking to myself, or tonight, I was really thinking about it, about what I was going to say on this video. And I was like, okay, you're probably the most peaceful right now. You know, don't wait till tomorrow and start flipping fans and going off and screaming at the camera. Just have the conversation about it. And I was like literally so disgusted by what I heard Jeffree say in this interview. And I just was like, okay, I'm so done with this, right? Like, I need to say something about this. And I was thinking about the whole thing with, like, forgiving people and whatever. And I was like, I don't know why this is such a difficult concept. This is going to stop in a minute, so hold on. Okay. I don't know why this is such a difficult concept, but seriously, if you guys do not want to be called emotionally immature, and this is not just for views and clicks, and you're not marketing something, then why don't one of you call up the other person and say, I think this has gone on long enough. Could we meet for coffee and just sit down and talk this out? Like, we're both grown adults. Like, we're not benefiting anything by hating each other. Like, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to love each other. But can we just talk this out? And whatever you have to say to me, I'll listen. And whatever you have to say to me, I'll listen. And then we can accept that, and we can try to start to forgive each other and move on. Like, you're grown fucking adults, okay? If you don't have the ability to do that, then A, you really do live with hatred in your heart, and you guys are really hate-filled, okay? Number two, and I'm talking from a point of view of somebody that I have had many people, the allergies are killing me all of a sudden now, see, because I've been talking too long. I just took my second dose of my allergy medicine today, and it's already, my throat is itching me. But you're talking from somebody that a lot of people have forgiven me in my life, and I've forgiven a lot of people, okay? It's not an easy thing to do. Forgiveness is a hard place to get to. I love the definition by Oprah, that forgiveness is accepting that what happened in the past happened. Not that what happened was okay, but it happened. Now, what are you going to do with it so that you are not held hostage to the future, okay? So that in the future, you are not held hostage to this event of the past. So either you guys are both so filled with anger, hate, and resentment that you want to just live this over and over and over again, or it's for marketing, it's for views, it's for clicks, and for money, okay? Well, I believe it's a little bit of both. I believe you both are some of the angriest people out there, and yet you want to sit here and talk about, I'm in therapy for this, and I'm in therapy. What are you in therapy for? What are you talking about in therapy? You know, maybe y'all need to find new therapists, because I don't think the therapists are doing you a whole lot of good, okay? When you're getting in podcast shit talking people, and you're doing this, and you're, you know, it's just like, it's so much, right? So, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, they just need to sit down and have coffee with somebody, okay? Or they need to go and find a mediator to sit down there and sit for 4 hours and just work this shit out and say, okay, we will never speak of each other again. Why is that so hard to do? You want to be good role models to your audience? You give a fuck about your audience? Sit down and show them how it's done. Sit down and show them how it's done. Sit down and show them that you guys can work this out. You don't have to love each other. You don't have to be going on Vegas trips again. You don't have to be hugging it out. You can part civilly and say, you know what? I don't respect you. I don't like you, but I heard what you had to say, and we can move past this. You aren't even willing to do that. You just want to live with anger and hatred in your heart. That really says a lot about who you are as people. So I watched this interview tonight, you know, where Jeffree Star says this stuff to Rich. Rich doesn't really get involved in the conversation. Like, he just is kind of like, oh wow, like I hadn't heard that before. And he doesn't really say anything about it. I will say this, Rich asked me on the phone if I thought that Jeffree could be lying about this. And so, and the only reason I'm bringing that up, and actually, I texted Rich and asked him if he cared that I made a response to his video, and he hasn't texted me back. So, but if he texts me and says that he doesn't want me to make a response to it, I won't post this video out of respect for Rich. But he didn't say anything, like, really. Like, I mean, he's obviously Team Jeffree in this whole situation. When you watch the video, that comes across that way. But, you know, he's also had, you know, workings behind the scenes with both of them, and he knows more about it than I do. So, that's his perspective. And Trisha said some horrific shit about Rich years ago about stealing a camera, and he talks about it in the video. Trisha said horrific shit about me, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, okay? So, and I forgive Trisha for that. And Trisha came to me years ago and said that she was sorry. She took a responsibility for it and said, if I ever hurt you, I apologize for that, you know? So, I thought past that we were good, but that doesn't mean that I condone the things that she does. I'm a drama commentary channel. I'm going to continue to talk about it. I'm glad that we're cool with that, right? But, like, okay. So, anyway, so Rich does this video, or shows in this video that Jeffree Star comes out and speaks, right? And Jeffree's like, Jeffree always like, in all honesty, like, Jeffree Star is not that great of a public speaker, okay? And he's always, like, turned on. Like, he's always very affected. You know, like, when somebody wants to share their personal... Girl, just get to it. Just say what you gotta say, okay? You want to come out and you want to throw some horrific shit in Trisha Paytas' face because you're so angry at her? Or this is all marketing, you're stirring up drama to either deflect off of your horrible shit, or Trisha Paytas is coming out and talking about it to deflect off of her horrible shit, or whatever it is, or this is marketing or deflection. I don't even know at this point, because it's so deep and it's so dark and it's so disgusting that to be honest with you, I'm disgusted by both of you. You are grown fucking adults that are closer to 40 than you are to 20, and you are acting like 15-year-olds. Truly, okay? And you got people out there that are defending you, and they are fighting in comment sections, coming for each other because of you, okay? It's ridiculous to me. So anyway, this whole thing goes back to this trip that that Jeffree Star had Trisha Paytas on in Vegas, and that he flew her out there in a private jet to go to Mariah. He can't ever let anybody forget the nice thing he does for him, right? And they took her to this concert, and he even says in there, like, we don't need to talk about the presents, right? And I'm like, where is he going with this? Oh, this is what I was going to say. So Rich asked me, he was like, I mean, you don't think Jeffree's lying about this, do you? And I go, no, I don't think Jeffree's lying about it. This is beside the point, right? I said, Jeffree Star doesn't lie about other people. Like, this is something like when you watch this long enough that you kind of figure out over time, right? There's other people out there that lie a lot about other people, okay? We won't talk about them in this video. Jeffree Star is smart enough to know not to lie about somebody, because if they can come out with factual evidence to the contrary, then they can prove him wrong. And to have a Manny MUA or a Toddy Westbrook or a James Charles out there that can prove that that can factually prove that Jeffree Star is lying, like, that would literally take every bit of credibility away from him, and he would be fucked. And he knows that. So when Jeffree Star comes out and talks about voice notes, or Jeffree Star comes out and talks about this, or Jeffree Star comes out and talks about that, okay, even though he's a shit person, why are we listening to Jeffree Star? You know, like, I'm glad that he's calling out James Charles, because nobody else in the industry is. Maybe he'll inspire some of these other people to come out and talk. This is what I want, right? I want some really healthy beauty influencers to come out and talk about the Jaclyn Hills, the James Charles, those people that are really decent human beings, that have really good reputations within the beauty space. I want them to come out and talk about Jeffree Star and James Charles and Toddy Westbrook, if there's anything about her, or Jaclyn Hill, or all these people, you know? Like, I started talking about Robbie DeChristie the other day and just got decimated for it, right? And I had several really good-hearted beauty influencers, like 3 or 4, reach out to me and say, thank you for talking about Christy, because people don't really know what she's like behind the scenes. Well, come out and share. People would listen to you because you guys are really, like, this is why everybody listened to Mallory Brooks' story about Jaclyn Hill. Because Mallory Brooks is a good person. Mallory Brooks is the real deal, right? If we had more people like that coming out and sharing stories, but they're afraid to, right? Because they don't want to be about the drama. Because they love makeup, and they don't want to ruin that. And then everybody will be like, oh, you're just a drama channel now, right? And they're scared of that, and I understand that. You know, people want to say how easy it is what we do. Do you realize the amount of shit that we get for talking about the things that we talk about in videos? You guys have no clue, right? You have no clue the hate and vitriol that we get from talking about people in videos, from their fans. So imagine you're a beauty influencer over here, okay, of 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers or 500,000 subscribers that has interacted with these people and seen the real people behind the scenes and knows the truth. And you're going to lose what you've worked so hard for, and you're just over there doing makeup for the love of makeup, and you're going to lose that because you're going to come out and tell the truth from those people. I understand that's scary, but until some of those people do, then we're still relying on the Jeffree Stars and all these people to come out and talk about it, right? It's time for some of these decent people to come out and tell the truth so we can just get rid of these people. I'm tired of it, okay? All these people are disgusting. I don't think any of these people deserve platforms. They have abused their platforms for so long, and I don't care. Hate me for saying that. It's just the truth, you know? And we give them the platforms by continuing to watch them and be ate up with their stories and stuff, right? So I'm watching this clip of Rich Lux's video where Jeffree Star's like, but first I want to say something before you ask me these 3 questions. I didn't watch the live stream. I just watched the video that Rich Lux put up there. He didn't include the 3 questions. And like I said, Rich doesn't really respond to it much. I mean, he goes and talks about, you know, Jeffree Star and Trisha Paytas, and he even says at one point, he's like, I mean, it's kind of like the lesser of 2 evils, and you know, even though, like, Jeffree Star sang out his praises, I was like, kind of surprised that Rich said that, because he sings out his praises at the beginning of it. Jeffree sings out Rich's praises, and then Rich gets in a video, and it's like, it's kind of like the lesser of 2 evils, because they've both done horrible things, right? I was like, oh, okay, like, I respect that. So anyway, but like I said, you know, like, Rich asked me, like, do I think that Jeffree could be, like, is he lying about this? Jeffree isn't somebody that's going to lie about somebody else because he'll get caught in it. Jeffree lies about himself. He lies about NFL players and people that he's dating and throwing up these pictures of who they are, and then we find out it's not true, and he never says it wasn't true. It's like, Jeffree Star doesn't have a problem lying about his own life and himself, but he's not going to lie about somebody else. And that's the really scary thing about Jeffree, is that Jeffree has, I mean, a lot of shit on people. Tati Westbrook said it. I mean, even though she did that Holy Ghost thing and was freaking out in the chair, and it's funny, you know, in my other videos, the reality is Tati Westbrook knew what was up. Jeffree Star has shit on everybody, okay? Maybe he's in his era to come out and talk about it. I think his book is getting ready to be released, or he's going to do some documentary or podcast. I don't know that this is a makeup release. I started thinking about it, but I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's something different, because he's starting to come out and tell truths about people. And then if people think he's going to get in a book or a documentary or something like that, or maybe it's all just to drum up this podcast that he did with Bunny. I don't know, you know. Maybe he's just trying to do marketing for that, because a lot of it seems to be coming from this podcast, these clips from this podcast. So I'm watching this, right? And he goes in, and he says in there, well, I'm going to get into the deeper part of it here in a second, but he references Trisha Paytas having just come off heroin, and that she was using heroin with John Hill, Jaclyn Hill's ex, before she came to Vegas, and that Jeffree, like, enveloped her in his, you know, his love and took care of her and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, did this man really just say this on video? Like, seriously, did he just say this? So, because I know this is going to come up from somebody that doesn't like me, and they're either a Trisha lover or a Trisha hater, they're going to bring this up. I just watched the video. So, this other video. So, several years ago, hold on a second, let me see if I can find my history. Trisha Paytas did a video, and in her video, she talked about how she was withdrawing off of opiates, okay? The video is, hold on a second, it is like 3 years old. So I did a video, and I did a response to the video, and the video is called Let's Talk Trisha Paytas, okay? Now, I haven't watched that video in a long time, and I've taken a lot of shit for that video, okay? I got so many people asking me to make that video. So I did. I responded to it as a person in recovery. I've been sober for 28. At the time, I was sober 24 years. So it's been 4 years ago. I've been sober now 28 years and 9 months. Okay? So I was sober 24 years at that time. I have taken so much shit through the years for coming out and saying that, and like I said, Trisha Paytas apologized to me in DMs. She didn't apologize specifically for this. She just said, if I ever made you feel some kind of way, I apologize for it. Did you ever make me feel some kind of way? Yeah, you dragged me through the mud. You said I brought evil into your home. That's pretty horrific, Trisha. Okay? It's the same as accusing somebody of stealing their camera, but even, I think, kind of worse. Saying that I'm an evil person and I brought evil into your home. Okay. But one of the things that she has a huge issue with is that I called her a liar in this video. I just went back and watched the video. I never called her a liar. I don't even think that word is in the video. What I said was, okay, that because Trisha has a history of trolling, and she's even admitted that you don't know what to believe is real or what to believe is not real. And I said I watched her video one time as believing that it was an act, and one time believing that it was real. And then the remainder of the video, I go through it as if it's real, and that she really is withdrawing from opiates. What I said I had an issue with was the fact that she's talking about how she's withdrawing at home, okay? Now, you have to remember, I used to work in a treatment facility, and I've been sober at that time for 24 years. I've had many friends who I cite in there that have died from opioid overdoses, okay? Today, I have even more. And that it is negligent to send out to an audience of 500,000 to 1 million people that it is okay to withdraw off of substances at home. Okay? Because it is extremely dangerous when you're talking about post-acute withdrawal and things like that. I even talked about that what happens, and Trisha was referencing that she was vomiting in a video, that what happens is you start having a lot of diarrhea when you're going through opiate withdrawals, and you have, you're vomiting, and then your body goes into dehydration, and then that's how a lot of people die. okay, when they're trying to take themselves off. So you need to be medically managed to be going through withdrawals. And that I thought it was extremely negligent that she was sending that message out there that if she can do it at home, then other people will think it's okay for them without knowing what level of use they're in, if they're in a chronic use or not. At the end of the video, I even said to her, Trisha, I've watched her videos for, I said, I cannot continue to watch her channel if this is what her channel is going to be about. I said in there I had supported her for a long time, but I'm not okay with this because I felt like this was negligent, and I just didn't, if this is what her channel is going to be, it was obviously a cry for help. She was really needing help, and she wasn't obviously getting it, and I was really worried about it, right? And I even said at the end of the video, I said, Trisha, you know my number. If you need help, if you want to talk about this, you know I'm an addict in recovery, please reach out to me. I'll help you. I'll talk to you. I got so much shit off of that video. Now let me make one thing very, very clear. And I'm very careful about this in my videos. I do not speculate about people's addiction issues. Okay? I don't. If Trisha Paytas had never made that video sharing her story, I would never have responded to it. I don't respond to a lot of people. People all the time, okay, are wanting me to talk about, you know, Jessica Kent this, and I don't, listen, I'm not getting involved in that. I don't even watch her close enough. I don't watch her at all, okay, to know what the real deal is behind all that kind of stuff. She recently reached out to me and she said, you were talking about me in a video, do you care if I include it in some kind of like docu-series that I'm doing for my channel? I said, if I put it out there, you can put it in a video. I don't really care. I said what I said. I don't wish any ill harm on Jessica Kent. I want all the best for Jessica Kent. The reason why I don't talk about Jessica Kent, and I did, and people continue to ask me about it, is that Jessica reached out, and here's just, you know what? Here's my truth-telling, era, okay? Jessica reached out to me for help. We talked, because we had done a video previously, and we had been friendly with each other. And she was talking about all this stuff going on with her ex and all this kind of stuff, and she was, like, going through it, and she was really struggling, and people were coming for her, and she said, I don't really know what to do. And I said, if it's bringing you a lot of hate and drama, don't talk about it anymore. Just move on. People like your prison videos. People like this. Just go on. Don't talk about it. I know, but I feel like my audience really wants to hear about this. I go, no, Jessica, I think you want to talk about it. And I said, you're also getting a lot of views off those videos where we're talking about it. But if it's bringing you so much, like it's bringing you a lot of misery, and listen, people always want to say whenever, like, people call me for advice, okay? They don't have to fucking take my advice, you know? I said this the other day, that my dad, like years ago, I called him for advice, and he said, if I'm going to give you advice, take it. Don't waste 10 to 15 minutes of my fucking life, okay? When you're going to ask me for advice and you're not going to take it. And that's what I'm going to start saying to people on the phone. Don't waste my time. You want to hear what I have to say? Listen to me, okay? But if you're calling me up because you think that I'm a voice of reason in that situation, and then you're going to do the complete opposite of it, don't call me anymore for advice, okay? So Jessica and I had this very nice conversation, just like the very nice conversation I had with Raw Beauty Christie, just like the very nice conversation I had with all these influencers I've talked to in the past, right? And I said, you know, you don't make one last video and say, this is the last time I'm going to be talking about this, and then I'm moving back to the stuff that I love to do. Yeah, I think that's a really good choice. I'm going to make one last video. Jessica Kent has not shut up about it since, okay? That's what she wants her channel to be. So be it. But I'm not going to get in a video and talk about her. It's just not, that's not my thing, right? Okay. I would not have made this video about Trisha Paytas had Trisha Paytas not made this video, and what I felt like was putting out negligent information to an audience. I felt like I had a duty as a recovering addict to share, and I shared statistical information in there, okay, about the amount of people that die trying to white-knuckle themselves off of opiates. That was an informative video for me because it wasn't shading or shitting on Trisha Paytas, okay? It was me being very concerned about the situation. And she turned it around and she went off and made a video about me. Not only that, okay, but my husband's best friend was killed in a car accident. My husband's best friend, his male friend, best male friend, Jason, was killed in a car accident. We were at his funeral in Kentucky. She started rampantly text messaging me, and I have no problem reading those text messages. If you guys want to know the real Trisha Paytas, unhinged, I have those text messages saved. She literally went off on me, and I'm like, Trisha, I am at my husband's best friend's funeral right now. I cannot talk. Don't you ever fucking this and fucking that, blah, blah, blah. I said, Trisha, I am at my husband's best friend's funeral right now. I cannot talk about this. I can talk to you tomorrow. Whatever. And puts out this video. Just dragging me to hell. Put the paragraph underneath it. That's who Trisha Paytas is. I've never to this day, okay? And I've never really even asked for it. I have never gotten a public apology, okay, for her just dragging me through the mud for that. And I feel bad if Trisha Paytas was going through that. And I said in that video, if this is real, and this is what, how are we supposed to know what's real or not to Trisha Paytas when she lies at the drop of a hat, okay? And I didn't even say that in that video. I said, Trisha has a history of trolling, so how are we supposed to know what's real and what's not real? I don't know. But I watched it both ways, and I'm going to go with the fact that it's real. And if this is real, then this concerns me greatly. And I gave her advice in the video, and I gave other people advice, and I cited statistics, and I even said she could reach out to me. And she did reach out to me, and she dragged me for filth. And she's never publicly apologized to me about that, okay? So, you want to talk about apologizing to people, Trisha? You want to talk about how you're a changed person? I've never received an apology for that, okay? In fact, you said the opposite. You said that I came for you and called you a liar. Go watch the video, see where I call you a liar in there. No, what I said was, and you've even admitted to your own trolling. So how was I saying anything in that video that you didn't say? You said you trolled, that you enjoy trolling. I didn't say anything in that video that you haven't said yourself. Period, end of story. Period, end of story. And I ain't holding my breath for a public apology. And I don't really need one, to be honest with you. I just want you to live a right life, Trisha, okay? I understand wanting to move past this stuff with Jeffree Star, but I'm a believer that when you want to work through stuff, you got to work through the pain, okay? You don't just act like it didn't happen and ignore it. I'd have gotten in a video if somebody asked me what happened with Jeffree Star, and I said, this is what happened with Jeffree Star. Hurt my fucking feelings. And he and I need to sit down and talk about it, because this back and forth bullshit is too much. Don't just get into a podcast and be like, I don't remember. Jeffree Star was going to come for you either way, and you had to have known that, okay? But Jeffree Star wants to get in this video, or this live stream, and he wants to throw in Trisha Paytas' face, first of all. Like, I'm talking about this in my video because I want to make it very clear, okay? I think it is sick to throw that in somebody's face. If Trisha Paytas had never said that in a video and said something that I felt like was negligent to her audience, I would never have addressed it, okay? Period, end of story. I'm not going to sit there and watch somebody in a video and be like, well, this or that or whatever. Tana Mongeau's made it very clear about her use history. I respond to that. I would never, ever put out information that somebody had shared publicly with me about that. That is so dirty and low. You know, I just said the other day, Robbie DeChristie shared some very deep things with me on the phone. I would never fucking betray her trust and share those things. To get even with somebody, I don't even have the desire to get even with Christy. I don't have any bone to pick with Christy. I don't hate Christy. People think I do. What I said a week ago is the same thing that I feel now. I can't hold all these other people accountable and not call out Christy. It doesn't mean I hate her. It doesn't even mean I think she's a bad person. I think she's handled the situation in a horrible manner for her audience. And I don't think that she's going to grow from the situation unless she deals with it. But that's just my opinion. But I don't hate her. I don't have any desire to take her down or anything like that. But she shared some very personal things with me. All of these people have shared very personal things with me. And I would never share that. It's not my place to do that. You're going to take a personal moment of somebody when they are literally coming off of heroin, and then you want to throw out there as well a man that has died of an overdose. You want to throw that out and throw that up there? Jeffree Star, you are a sicker person than I ever thought you were. You are sick, okay? And Jeffree Star, having been in the music industry and having been in Hollywood for all this time, don't tell me he doesn't have other people that he knows and friends of his that have died from overdoses. Don't tell me that, okay? And I've said in videos, and I've said it just yesterday in a video, when you talk poorly, okay, or throw up somebody's addiction in their face, that is like, I don't even understand that, okay? Like, I am so confused about that. And the reason why I'm addressing the video that I talked about Trisha Paytas is because I want to make it very clear. The reason I made that video, okay, was because I thought that the information she was putting out there was negligent to her audience. And I was scared to death of the one person that would watch that video, okay, that was chronically using opiates, that would say, if Trisha Paytas, okay, just like all these people are like, well, if Trisha Paytas likes this sex toy, then I'm going to buy this sex toy. If Trisha Paytas can withdraw from opiates at home, then I can too, okay? That's what scared me, for that one person out there. But I would never throw that up in somebody's face. You are, Jeffree Star, like, you want to say all this shit about Trisha Paytas? You are, I don't care. Trisha Paytas has done a lot of really sick, problematic stuff that she has never taken accountability for, okay? But Jeffree Star, you are no better. This was such a disgusting move that you even thought there was something okay with this. And if it turns around in 2 weeks and you have a launch or your book is coming out and all of this is just to stir up some drama, you threw somebody's addiction in their face and wanted to pat on the back for helping somebody out there. Like, oh, I was really helping her. I was there for her. Good fucking place, girl. That's who you should have been as a friend. You want pats on the back for being a friend to somebody that's going through the most horrible place in their life. And then you have the gall and the audacity to want to talk about somebody that she was using drugs with that has passed away from an overdose. Like, how seriously sick are you? Like, that just showed to me, when people want to say that Jeffree Star is a changed person, this literally showed me that not only is he not a changed person, he is even sicker than I thought he was. This is disgusting, okay? That you thought there was anything. Why do you think that coming out and sharing where Trisha Paytas was at that time, okay, that defends anything that happened on that weekend? Why is her coming out and this whole dispute over you that most people have forgotten about anyway, and you're like, she ruined my reputation? No, she didn't. You're still friends with Shane Dawson. Hair by Jay still doing your hair. She even said Hair by Jay made an apology to her. You even said that Hair by Jay, you're like, I've addressed this so many times, but Hair by Jay did some disgusting things. Girl, this is the first time I've heard you address that. Maybe you slipped it in here and there and I've never heard it before, but that's the first time I ever heard you address it, okay? But you're so ate up. Your reputation was not ruined over that, Jeffree. Let's just be for real. You didn't lose no subscribers over that. People still bought your bullshit, okay? You still have a store in Wyoming that you just opened. You're doing fine on TikTok. Trisha Paytas did not take down your reputation. People believed her at the time, okay? But it wasn't like your reputation was ruined. Let's just be for real, okay? Oh, she ruined my reputation. Girl, your reputation wasn't that sterling clean to begin with, okay? And you did that. For all the racist bullshit that you put out there and all the performative stuff that you do, okay? I mean, literally, and I'm saying this, and I've said it in videos, and people don't like it when I say it, but literally, Jeffree, okay, and we know that it's because of your racist allegations from the past, okay, or allegations, it's truth, okay, that you've come out and apologized for, and then people are still saying you say the same things behind the scenes, okay, literally, your photo shoots look like the United Colors of Benetton. I mean, they really do, okay? You've got, like, somebody from every different ethnic background in your photo shoots. You want to tell me that's not performative? Your own doings, Jeffree, okay, of your shit-talking people and your being nasty to other people is what ruins your reputation. Your own history of how you have talked to people and talked about people in the language that you used, that has what has hurt your reputation. Trisha Paytas may have sprinkled a little bit on there, like she does with her apologies, but she is not solely responsible for the downfall of your reputation. You are so misguided. It's like you coming out and saying James and Toddy are the reason for the downfall of the beauty community. You have a big part in that too, Jeffree. Do you not remember? You and Shane Dawson have a huge part in the downfall of the beauty community, because after that, people are just like, if this is what the beauty community is about, I'm not participating in it anymore. This is going to stop. I can't believe I'm at an hour. Anyway, you were a big part of that too, okay? And you were stirring it up and shit-talking on Twitter. And whether you were talking the truth or not, you don't come out and have all this to say about James Charles now. Girl, why didn't you say it years ago? Has the legal contracts expired? You know? What's going on with all that, you know? Why now are you coming out and talking about it? Is there a motive to that? So, how I feel about all this is, first of all, Jeffree Star just proved that he has not made any changes as a human being. He has not made any growth. He is almost a 40-year-old adult, okay? We're not talking about 18, 20-year-old kids, which is no excuse for them either. We're talking about a 40-year-old adult, you know? I'm telling you right now, if I had it out with somebody and they looked at me, let's just say when I was 24, okay? And they looked at me and said, well, when you were using back in the day, like, I let you stay at my house. And I'd say, you know what? I really appreciate that. It was a nice thing to do. But you know what? You throwing that in my face, you can go get fucked, okay? Seriously? Why did you do it? To throw it at my face later? Was that what your motive was all along? To be able to keep that ace in your pocket to throw that at my... Why did you do it? Oh, Hair by Jay did her hair and didn't even charge her? Who the fuck cares about that? Who cares? I mean, this feud is so nasty between the two of you. It is so nasty, you know? I'm just like, y'all need to sit down and have some coffee as grown fucking adults. And if you can't have that conversation alone, then have a mediator that neither one of you knows and sit down and have this conversation, okay? And then you both need to get in some serious therapy about your anger and resentments towards the world. Not just towards each other, but the world. Because you two are two of the most hateful, lying-ass, angry, resentful people that I have ever seen in my entire life. Period. End of story. Okay? And why we're supposed to trust or believe or favor anything that you say and give you pats on the back? Fuck that. No. No. I don't think one of you is better than the other. But Jeffree, this was a really cruel move. And you know what? And I don't care about the people out there that are going, yes, Jeffree got Trisha. Yes, Jeffree got Trisha. If you had a family member, okay, that A, died from a heroin overdose like John Hill did. If Jaclyn Hill ever endorses Jeffree Star again, after he came out and said that bullshit, that totally shows a lot about Jaclyn Hill. So I hope she really rethinks her stance on all of this. But if you had a family member or a friend that had died of an overdose like I have, you would not take those words lightly. And you would see the impact of what those words meant. Those words are straight evil. And I'll say this right now, okay? And y'all can hate me till the end of the day. I don't care. Trisha Paytas might be the biggest liar in the world. She might be the biggest person that's never taken accountability for her life. She might have offended the most people in the entire world and all this kind of stuff, okay? All that aside, she did not deserve that. That is some cruel bullshit. Jeffree Star, you just tonight proved how truly evil of a person you are. With that alone. I am just like so, just like, I didn't really expect a lot from you anymore because you've shown your cards with me. I mean, the amount of, when you would talk to me about people, the amount of like, you know, coffins and dead emojis, that all these people were dead to you and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you don't think highly of anybody, right? The amount of things you said about people behind the scenes to me and to other people, and yes, I do know all of it. The amount of things that you have done behind the scenes, the amount of things that you have lied about, the amount of people that you have hurt. But this, and Trisha Paytas has too. I'm not giving her no free pass. Trisha Paytas has hurt countless people, countless communities, taken very little responsibility. I know she's on a redemption arc apology tour right now, okay? But she could do better. And it's a long walk for Trisha, okay? But then you even said something, I don't know. I'm just like, you even said something about Trisha being a mother. Like, girl. I don't know, Jeffree. I know everybody says that stuff, right? In the comments. And people wants to say that on the Reddit threads and everywhere else, right? But, like, you're a grown adult. You both are grown adults, okay? That at one time had a friendship. You know, people ask me all the time, like, when I'm going through a breakup, what should I do, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm always like, well, if there's no, like, abuse or the thing hasn't been horrible. And I'm not saying that they haven't abused each other because there's emotional abuse going on here left and right. But try to look back on that relationship with some civility. Try to look back on that relationship and be like, you know what? Even though it ended horribly, there's still a part of them that's good and whatever, and I just want to remember some of the good times, okay? If it wasn't abusive, it wasn't horrific and things like that, right? And you weren't like running for your life to get out of that relationship. Is there not a place that you guys can find some common ground and just move on from this and be decent human beings and not have to attack each other? Like, this is, I mean, I've been on YouTube for 7 years and this kind of shit has been going on constantly. And you know, the thing is that Trisha Paytas comes for all these people, but when you look at all of the people in the beauty community, like Jeffree Star is the common denominator of nobody getting along, right? They're equally just as shitty people, and now they're feuding with each other and have been for years. Has nobody suggested to you maybe sit down and just have a conversation with each other and talk it out? Because if they haven't, I am. That's easier to do, to sit down, than continue this feud. This feud is going to cause such emotional strain on both of you. I don't know. Jeffree seems like he gets off on this. You know, Trisha sobs in TikToks, but there's no cries or no tears crying out of her eyes. So I don't know what's real. I really, to be honest with you, I don't. But this is not the world that I would want to live in. It makes me sad. It makes me sad and it makes me disgusted. It makes me sad that these are the people that people out there are fanning over and looking up to. So, like I said earlier, can we please in the comment section below sing out the praises of some, I don't care if they're smaller, I don't care if they're bigger, some non-problematic YouTubers out there and beauty influencers that are just working real hard to put out their videos that they love to do, and they ain't causing no kinds of problems and drama, and they ain't getting into feuds with people. Because I think that would be fantastic. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.